Welcome everybody, I'm Steve Coltrane and I'm delighted to host this conversation with Oksana Malysheva. We're going to talk, we call her the startup whisperer around here, but she blanches at that a little bit. But we're going to talk today about the need for capital, to have innovation, to start new businesses, or to be an entrepreneur. So let's just get right to it, Oksana. Welcome, glad you're here.
Thank you, Steve.
Okay, Oksana, what happens when you get an idea? I've been talking to entrepreneurs since we started to plan this conversation with you. And mostly what happens is they take the idea to their family and they either ask them for some help, capital-wise, or they ask them if they think it's a good idea. And most of the time their family says, I don't think that's a good idea. What would you say to them?
Well, that's a really interesting question. It's a great way to start with this because any company, big or small, have started with an idea. If you don't have that idea, you really don't have a company. However, where many people get it wrong is people believe that the idea is the most important thing. And in the seat of the venture capitalist, your idea has to be good, but your idea is the first small step towards your vision of becoming that company, that entrepreneur that will change the world in the way you want to see the world. And an interesting thing is every time people are trying to change the world, if it's truly ground changing, if it's truly something that will change how we do things, those ideas seem downright stupid early on. Well, think about this. One of my favorite ways to go on vacation these days is to use Airbnb. That was the idea that was voted down not just by friends and family, but by this country's best VC firms. How stupid it is that you're going to go into the city, I don't know, and stay and use dirty towels of someone that you've never met before. That seems ridiculous, or so it did 10 years ago. Brian Chesky and his partners, they did not believe it. They saw the vision, they saw something that no one else saw, and they continued and persevered to build that. They scraped, they did whatever needed to get done until they put more meat in the bone, until they had the first customers, until they've had the first hosts, until they've perfected that process. So that vision jumped from what was just a stupid idea on the napkin for three friends who were just trying to make ends meet as they're going and studying the School of Design to probably the biggest hotel establishment that is not calling itself a hotel on this earth. They've created something new, they've created something distinct, and they've changed the world in the process.
So let's talk about that. Why did this idea, because even as you say it now 10 years later, when you said dirty towels, I thought, yeah, who would want to do that even today? The chance of there being dirty towels sort of turns my stomach a little bit. What did they do next? So they had an idea, they were friends around a table or on the back of a napkin. Somehow they put it down on paper anyway, which I guess would be the very first thing you'd want to do if you had an idea.
Sometimes yes, but sometimes you just want to give it a go and sometimes you want to give it a try. So there was a need for them to make extra money. They lived in San Francisco, they were struggling to make rent. And there was, I think if I remember the story correctly, there was a big conference that was coming in town, and they realized that there were a lot of people that would come that would be just like them, that for them the price of the hotel surging in San Francisco would be way too high. So they said, what if we post that we would host someone on our floor, and it was actually on the air mattress, and we're going to feed them, we're going to show them around, and they tried it, and it worked, and it helped pay rent, and that's how it went from being, what do we do now? What about this? To something is actually happening here. People like it.
So they actually experimented with the idea to see if there was any appetite for it.
Exactly right.
When we come back, I'm going to ask you more questions about Airbnb and other entrepreneurial ventures. But this is the end of our first segment, and I think it's very interesting. People want to know, should I write the idea down? Should I try and get a customer? Right. That's what we're going to talk about when we come back.
Listen, if we were to end on something, good idea is a must, but good idea is nothing without a long set of steps that will follow. And the most important thing to go with idea is the passion and the grit to take that idea to the finish line, whatever it takes.